have champagne moments that, of course, are our quantum leaps and successes that we celebrate. We celebrate as much as we possibly can because we get more of what we celebrate. And then when there's a challenge, we see it as a golden opportunity that helps us shift and start scanning again for the gifts in it. And so many times, I speak for myself, I've been given something and it doesn't look so good. And if I can just hold that I'm going to get something even better than what I had set out for in any given situation, that's exactly what happens to
me. Welcome to the Thriving After Divorce podcast, where you learn the secrets to reclaim your life and turn your breakup into your breakthrough. Transformation expert, internationally published author, and online show host Tanya Marie Dubé will help you quickly pick up and move on as you tune into interviews with some pretty cool experts from around the world, showing you how to live your best life after divorce. If you're ready to learn the skills to finally put your divorce behind you for good, dig down really deep, and step into your highest self, then you're in the right place. Here's your host, online educator and mom of two, Tanya Marie Dubé.
Hi, everybody. We're back. It's Monday. What a great day it is today. I would like to quickly remind you to please like, comment, subscribe, share, and review this podcast. With my online video series, we had reached over 300,000 women all over the world. And my goal with this podcast is to reach 1 million women globally. So with your help, I know we can do this. Because when you teach a woman, you teach an entire community, and the love just spreads. So please share this with your community, and let's reach this goal together. Today's interview is with Kathryn Ford. Now, I have interviewed this woman a few times now, and she is an incredible woman with an incredible story. She is an award-winning personal and professional mentor and coach, an international motivational speaker, and an Amazon #1 best-selling author who specializes in helping sophisticated, extraordinary women live with an abundance of health, wealth, and love. So in this episode, Kathryn talks to us about finding real gratitude in her discovery that she had multiple sclerosis. For 16 years, she fought for her life. She took medicine that could have killed her. And then she discovered a shocking truth, which she's going to talk about on this interview. She then had to pick up the pieces and turn her entire life around. But first, she had to see what the message was, why she was going through what she went through. She knew that there was a reason that she did go through it. And it's become the foundation for her entire business, serving women all over the world. So let's welcome my friend, Kathryn. Hi, Kathryn. It's so good to have you here today. How are you?
Hi, Tanya. Thank you so much for having me. I'm great.
Oh, this is great. So this is the second time that I'm interviewing Kathryn. And every time I get her on the phone with me, we have the most amazing conversation. So I think you're really in for a treat today. So Kathryn, let's just jump right in. So let's start with who you serve and what led you to this work.
Oh, that is such a great question. Well, it's definitely my purpose in life. And I serve sophisticated, extraordinary women who love the finer things in life, and they know they're meant for more. They are looking to live a life filled with an abundance of health, wealth, and love. And truly what brought me to this work, it's I believe it was Steve Jobs who said we can all look back and connect the dots. It was almost 29 years ago. I was 26 years old, busy climbing the corporate ladder. And I was driving home one day from work and I had a really bad headache. And ultimately I would end up going blind in my left eye. So that was a huge wake-up call. I was diagnosed with MS and started this whole journey of how I could defy the odds, be a medical miracle, and truly started researching what was happening all over the world. And it wasn't easy back 29 years ago. There was no internet or anything, so I had to do it the old-fashioned way. But I began looking into what was really causing people to thrive, no matter what they had been through. So I just started practicing everything on myself and found out what worked, what didn't really work, and was on this journey. I, at the same time, was an HR executive, and I was basically doing high-level coaching. And fast forward 22 years later, I ended up finding out that I was misdiagnosed. So that was a huge shocker. What I actually had was far worse than MS. And there was an expert in the world on this very rare condition called neuromyelitis optica. Again, it's far worse than MS. I made an appointment with this expert at Mayo Clinic. He walked in the exam room, started to walk out, turned around, looked at me and said, "Are you Kathryn Ford?" And I said, "Yes." And he said, "Oh my gosh, you don't even look like someone who's had MS for 22 years, let alone this worst condition. What are you doing besides the medication we have you on?" And I said, "Well, first of all, doctor, I'm going to take that as a compliment because I haven't been hearing very good news lately. It was such a shock to find out that most of my adult life I identified with having, been diagnosed with MS, and then I'm learning I had something worse, and everything was just such a blow to me." And he said, "I want you to take it as a compliment and please share with me everything." Well, we ended up having this amazing conversation about how everyone in the world has some sort of dis-ease. Mine had just so happened to already manifest in my body. Other people are in a toxic relationship, which I also had been in one. And other people just can't seem to find what they're passionate about, or they don't like what they do. That's a big problem in the world right now. Monday morning, people just dread having to go to work. So we talked about the mind-body connection and how everything affects everything else. And then he would actually tell me that I needed to immediately stop the medication that they had me on for MS because it was harmful to someone with my diagnosis. And I'll tell you, Tanya, it was like he punched me in the stomach. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. It was a chemotherapy type drug that I had been on for 16 and a half of those 22 years. And it was so hard to be on. I felt like I basically had the flu for 16 and a half years. And I closed my eyes. I had such a flood of emotion. I was angry. I was upset. I was resentful. And then all of a sudden it hit me. And I opened up my eyes and I said, "You know what, doctor? I have a very powerful mind. I've been developing this power for the last 22 years on my journey for my health. And I really believed that medication was helping me. So I know it didn't hurt me." And I'll never forget, he pointed at me, Tanya, and he said, "We're sticking with that." And I said, "Yes, we are, because if I hang on to these feelings, I am definitely going to start to have some major flare-ups with the diagnosis, the condition." And so he really urged me to get all of what I was doing out into the world. And he was the first one who had said that to me. And he actually asked if I had considered it. And I said, "No." I said, "Really, doctor, I've just been trying to save myself." And he said, "Well, look at you. I mean, this is incredible. You really shouldn't even be here anymore. You should have died years ago." And along the way had been in just some really poor shape. Probably gone blind in both eyes, in a wheelchair. He named all these different things. And he said, "Look at you. This is incredible. You are a medical miracle." So he was the first one who planted that in my mind. And I would go on to have a couple of more doctors say the same thing. So I took it seriously and thought, I believe that this is why I'm here. And I'm going to do something really amazing with everything that I've been through so that I can help other women just have an easier go of things, an easier time, and not have to stumble as much as I did along the way. And I know that this is my purpose in life. So basically what I did was I took all that HR background and coaching that I was doing, and I merged it with all of my research. And I founded Excellence Institute in 2012. Wow. So here I am today, loving what I'm doing. And my clients are just extraordinary. And we see huge quantum leaps. That's really what I'm looking for, is just for them to completely manifest the next most amazing chapter in their life. And the goal is to really make the rest of their life the best of their life, no matter what they've been through.
I absolutely love that. Your story
so there you have it.
Yeah, your story is so powerful and amazing. I love it. Every aspect of it. And the very first time that I interviewed you and we went through this whole process and I heard your fascinating story, because I think your story is out of this world, amazing. I had asked you a really serious question about whether or not, you were angry or so upset to the point where, when you first found out that you were taking that medication for 16 years and it could have killed you,
mm-hmm.
What was your initial reaction? Because I know mine would have been, how was I just misdiagnosed like this and to this level? But
Yeah.
you did something different. So do you want to talk about that?
Well, sure. I will be very honest with you, Tanya. At first I was in shock, and I did have like all kinds of really toxic emotions in that doctor's office, just coursing through my body. And then, as I said, it hit me. And I just knew that hanging on to that, I would be the only person on the planet that would be continuing to, sort of be hurt by that, right?
Mm.
By hanging on to that. So I made a choice and a decision in that moment to let it go.
Right.
And I just tried to focus on, okay, so what can I be grateful for? I can be grateful that I don't ever have to do that again. It was very painful, and it was every other night. So by the time I would start to feel good again on the afternoon of the second day, I would be having to do another one that evening. So I chose to focus on anything that I could grasp that was positive. And the very first thing was just that I wouldn't have to do that anymore. I wouldn't have to endure the injection site reactions, just how I was feeling, all the things, all the side effects from that medication. And that almost immediately, I felt this relief and a shift from all of that anger and resentment that I had to, okay, you know what? I am going to make the rest of my life the best of my life. And this is a sign. I took it as a big sign that I had some major shifts happening in my life.
Mm-hmm.
To actually have a doctor say, oh, you need to stop that immediately. Something that I thought I was going to have to endure for the rest of my life until they found something that was, more effective or better or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It was those types of decisions and that gratitude. And I am such a firm believer in gratitude. And even when it doesn't appear to be so good at first, I always ask myself the question, how can I look at this differently? And okay, I know there's good in this. And I just allow myself to scan and search for that instead of, my initial maybe feelings of this is not so good.
Wow. What a powerful message that is in such a moment of craziness in your life.
It was crazy.
Yeah. Good for you. I think that's amazing, because if you didn't lean on that gratitude and you didn't ask yourself those questions, you never would have come down this path that you've been doing now for so long, helping so many women.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. I'm very proud of you. That's amazing.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Now, I wanted to ask you, why do you believe everything happens at the exact moment that it's meant to?
Oh, that is such a great question. Well, I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that we are spiritual beings having a human experience.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that everything happens at the perfect time when we are ready for transformation, when we have actually asked for it to happen. We have so much power to transform things, no matter how grave or how challenging the situation. And when we look at it that way, it's amazing what we can do. It's just that I believe most of us oftentimes will be going through life with one foot on the accelerator and the other one on the brake. Mm-hmm. And so we have these things happen at the perfect and right time to help us move forward.
Oh, I love that. I love what you said about being ready, because you have, not only are you asking for something in your life, but you have to be ready for what's about to happen to you.
Exactly.
Yes. Now, you have a book called Be Well, and inside of this book is a 7-step system. Can you talk about this and what it's done for you in your life and why you wrote that book?
Absolutely. I would be so thrilled to do this. I love it. And basically when that doctor said to me, you've got to get this out there into the world, I took all that in and thought, okay, it's one thing for me to be practicing, on myself what I practice. It's a whole other thing to make it easily duplicatable so others can do it and live their best life. Because people come to me, women come to me with a major initiative. Maybe it's their relationship, or lack of, and they would love to be in a loving relationship. Maybe it's their work in the world, or they want to take a quantum leap in that. They want to make a whole lot more money and work less. Maybe they're like me and they have some sort of diagnosis. Even though they come with one major initiative, we work on their entire life, all 3 of the major categories, because everything going on in our life affects everything else. Our health and well-being affects our relationships and our time and money freedom, and those areas definitely affect our health and well-being. So the reason why I have this 7-step system, and the birth of it really came from that doctor, that first initial doctor, and then a couple of more urging me to get get this out into the world. So I thought, okay, I'm going to make this easily duplicatable. So the 7-step system is what I practice on myself and for myself. My clients all do it. And the results are extraordinary. And when a client begins to work with me, the very first thing we do is we put together a personal passion prescription. And the first thing that I ask them to really think about and get clear about is, what would I love in each of the 3 categories? So we get really clear about that. And I have a way of putting it all together. And we use that. And we use that as a visualization tool, as a tool to be the woman who already has everything she would love. We do advanced decision making, all kinds of practices that help her quickly bring into her life what she would love. And then the supporting, everything is based around the ocean. So I call it, the 7 steps are waves. The supporting waves are self-care, and the largest component of that is self-love. Mm-hmm. And then gratitude. You already know that's my number one go-to.
That's a good one. Yeah.
I love to live really, truly from a state of gratitude and just be in that space. It is magical. And I find that for myself and my clients, we really bring into our life everything we would love so much faster when we're on that vibration. It's like this vortex. Peace. Huge. After everything that happened to me in my life and with my former marriage too, I realized that I needed to guard my peace like it was Fort Knox. And so we talk about that. We talk about the energy of joy. Self-worth is huge because self-worth really dictates how much health, wealth, and love we allow into our life. So we take a deep dive into self-worth, and it's proven that our net worth is equal to our self-worth. Again, it's all about allowing. And finally, we cap it all off with grace, which is my word for forgiveness. And we have a beautiful release ceremony. I have clients a couple of times a year. I do goddess retreats, and they fly in, and we do release ceremonies here on the beach in Santa Monica, California. And it's just extraordinary, again, to remove any blocks that we may have. Because just like when I was told the news about the medication I was on, again, had I held on to that, I would not be doing as well physically today as I am, because I would have been just having all of these toxic chemicals coursing through my body. Because we all have an inner pharmacy. Whatever is happening, our thoughts generate emotions, which lead us to taking certain actions, right? And those emotions, though, kick in our inner pharmacy. So if we're thriving and doing really well and happy and at peace, and we've released and we've forgiven and all of that, and we're taking great care of ourselves moment to moment, that will cause our inner pharmacy to release all kinds of sparkling, beautiful chemicals that not only are good for our organs and every cell inside our body, but a lot of times their friends and people in their lives will actually say to them, wow, you're looking younger. What are you doing? Mm-hmm. And it's just simply because they're so much happier, and now their cells are being bathed in beautiful, sparkling chemicals versus, too much cortisol and all of that when we're stressed and we're hanging on to.
Oh my goodness. And that is such a good, foundation for the reasons why we need to make really healthy choices and kick out those toxic relationships from our lives, right?
Definitely. Absolutely.
Wow, wow, wow. Thank you for sharing that. I love that. I love that you put this book together as an extension of your experiences for everybody else. That's fantastic. Now, I want to ask you, through your adversity, how did you decide to make the moves that you did into the career that you have now, given that so much was going on around you? I mean, it must have been a little bit stressful. You were in that bad relationship.
Yeah.
How did you do that?
Well, I decided after that, everything that was going on, I thought, okay, I need to really, through all the craziness, bring peace and joy into my life. I knew I was just so attracted to that because I knew it was going to be very healing for me. By that point, I had thankfully gotten out of that very toxic relationship that I was in. And that was huge for me. And then through people urging me to share this work with others, because it was just, the transformation was so great. That's really what got me going into it. And then, of course, I looked back and connected the dots. As I said, I think it was Steve Jobs who mentioned that we can all do that in our life. And I just thought, wow, this is why I have been through everything that I've been through. I'm really, truly on the planet to help others. I know that for sure, for sure.
Yeah.
So yes, finding my passion was easy for me after going through all of this, because it just sort of landed right there. And it was like, wow, this is what I'm supposed to be doing.
Isn't that funny? And that reminds me of a visual of an iceberg. What we see on the tip is what you found out you were meant to do, but underneath was all of those years of going through what you went through.
Yes.
So
exactly.
yeah, I don't think it landed easily, but I think it was amazing that your eyes were open so that you could see it.
Yeah.
Right? Because sometimes that's a really big problem. I find a lot of the times when we're going through really difficult adversity and we're just sort of keeping our heads above water, it's really easy to miss the life preserver that's floating right near you. It's just really easy to miss. Yeah. And it's really easy to mistake what you've asked for, like what you've received because of what you've asked for, because it doesn't look the way you expected it to look.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Yeah. So I'm very happy that you found your calling. That's amazing.
Thank you.
Now, I have one more question for you before we get into your free gifts that you have for everybody today. But what are your top go-to techniques for shutting out the noise so that you can focus on what's really important?
Well, first and foremost, I have to say gratitude. That is so huge. That has transformed my life. And I really am talking about gratitude for everything. I've gotten to a place where I really live from that sense and that deep place in my heart. And it is a vortex for me. It makes everything magical, whether at first it looks like or appears to be or not. I know there are gifts in everything. And I know firsthand so many of the greatest gifts in my life have presented themselves in like brown, tattered paper. And it wasn't until, wrap. And it wasn't until I unwrapped them that I actually saw the Tiffany packaging, right? It was like so amazing. And that goes for my crazy health journey that I've been on. It goes for the relationship that I was in for over 2 decades with my former husband. And I just really find that gratitude for me is everything. And then the other piece is my personal passion prescription that I have and I develop with my clients, because it helps me get back to what it is that I want to create, because it's proven we get more of what we focus on. So if something happens, a challenge in my life, or something isn't going the way that I am thinking that I would love for it to go, I bring myself as quickly as possible to focus on that. I always tell my clients to take a dose in the morning and a dose in the evening, and then as needed throughout the day. So if something happens, they have a copy in their handbag. They can pull it out and focus on it. Because one of the things I learned, particularly in this former marriage I was in, was that I tended to ruminate too much on the present and what was happening, circumstances, instead of focusing on what I would love. So hence, of course, I kept getting more of what I didn't want. And just, it's one thing we all have to release, the toxic energy, but then, we've all done it where we cross over the line and we're just ruminating and we're talking to everybody, about our friends about it, and we're focused on it. And oh my gosh, this or that. So this is a wonderful tool that is just my go-to. And I get such great feedback from my clients too, because it truly is, helps them make that shift back over to what they would love. And to also believe and know deep, deep down, there are gifts in everything, and everything is happening at the right time and exactly how it's supposed to happen.
Yeah, I believe that. I believe that 100%. And our lives will show us that. What you were just talking about ruminating too much, isn't it really easy when you're going through all of this negativity to get caught up in this record player of conversations and moments that happened? And it's one of the worst possible things we can do to ourselves. So in order to catch yourself from doing that, what do you do?
Well, now I go straight to that personal passion prescription. And I also remind myself, and these words are words that we use at Excellence Institute. It's immediately try to see that it's a golden opportunity. Mm-hmm. So we have champagne moments, that of course are our quantum leaps and successes that we celebrate. We celebrate as much as we possibly can because we get more of what we celebrate. And then when there's a challenge, we see it as a golden opportunity that helps us shift and start scanning again for the gifts in it. And so many times I speak for myself, I've been given something and it doesn't look so good. And if I can just hold that I'm going to get something even better than what I had set out for in any given situation, that's exactly what happens to me. So it's intending that this is just the roundabout course I have to take to end up getting something even better.
Wow. I like that. This is just the roundabout course you have to go on.
Yeah.
That's really good. I really, really like that. Thank you so much for all of your words of wisdom and sharing your stories. I absolutely love talking to you. Now, I'd love to get into your free gifts. You have a couple of things you'd like to offer.
I do. I'm so excited. Well, I've got the first one here. If you go to my website, kathrynford.com, and that's KATHRYNFORD.com, I have my free Be Well Daily Affirmations. And there's a sign up box right there on the homepage. And these are really my gift to the world. They're in about 15 different countries. People love them. I get almost every day an email from someone just saying, oh, this was the perfect one for me today. Thank you so much. They come Monday through Friday, and they'll be in your inbox, an email inbox. And I just ask that is the first email that you open up in the morning. It's a beautiful way to just allow that short little statement to resonate, get into your cells, say it 2, 3, 4 times, and really feel it in your body, and then go on about your day. And you'll notice that it will actually help you have a much better day. So that's the first one.
That's a great one.
Thank you. And then the second gift I have is just for your listeners. I have a $500 gift certificate off of any of my coaching programs. And this is just for your listeners, and I'm super excited to offer this to them.
Thank you. You know what? That's awfully generous. I love both of these things are transformational. They're powerful. Working with you would be a dream. I think that's fantastic.
Thank you.
Everybody can find the coupon code and the link to actually get the $500 off the programs, and take a look at Kathryn's website in the show notes under this interview today. So thank you so much for being here today, Kathryn. This was absolutely wonderful. Do you have any last words?
Oh, Tanya, I just love you so much. It's always a pleasure. Thank you. Thank you. I just want to tell everybody, be well, and know that whatever might be going on in your life right now, it is so possible to create an amazing chapter for yourself right around the corner. Just have more than you ever dreamed of. It's truly possible. If I can do it, anybody can.
That's fantastic. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Thank you so much again, Kathryn, for being here. You are listening to Thriving After Divorce Radio, and I am your host, Tanya Marie Dubé, and we will see you next time. Bye. Thank you again so much for joining us on the Thriving After Divorce Radio podcast. We're coming to you every Monday morning so that you can start your week with intention and some powerful advice for what you're dealing with. So please subscribe to this podcast and share it with your friends and your family. My goal is to help change 1 million lives with this work, because when you teach a woman, you teach an entire community. Everybody benefits and the love spreads. So please feel free to comment, review, share, and like. With your help, I know I can reach this goal. So have a beautiful day, and we will see you next week.